This is a series on C for embedded systems. Check out the playlist for other videos. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet. In this video, let's look at while and do while loops in C programming. So, in the world of C programming, mastering control flow structure is essential, and the while and do while loops are fundamental constructs that every C programmer should be well acquainted with. So in this video, we will explore while and do while loop, which is a very important control flow structure. First, we will see the while loop in C. While loop is designed to execute a block of code repeatedly as long as specified conditions hold true. So in the previous video, we have seen a for loop. Please go and check that out. The syntax of a while loop is while and then open the brackets, then you have a condition and open the braces, then you have a block of code that you want to execute, then to close the braces. Well, you can see that while is a keyword and the condition is any logical expression. So here condition represent the expression that is evaluated before each iteration. If the condition remains true, the loop continues, otherwise it terminates. So the same can be seen as a flowchart. As you can see that the loop starts, and once the loop starts, it will check for the test condition. If the condition is true, then it will execute the body of the loop. If it is false, then the while loop terminates or ends. And if it is true, it executes, then it goes back to the checking the condition. Now let's see an example, a simple example to print the numbers. So here in this program, we just initialize a variable count, which is 5, and print its value in each iteration until the count becomes less than or equal to 1. Okay, so let's see execute this program and see what happens. You can see that we have initialized the count value to 5. In the while loop, we're just checking count is greater than 0. Is count is greater than 0? If so, then we will print the count. And then in each iteration, we decrement the count. So let's execute this. In order to execute, let's compile this gcc while count.c. Then it compiled. Then a.exe. You can see that it printed 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and as soon as the count becomes 0, which is in this while count is greater than 0, no, that means it is false. So it will come out of the loop. It will not continue the loop, and then we return 0. So that is how this program is working. I hope you understood. This is a very simple while loop. So now let's see example 2, where we illustrate the user input validation using while loop. So user input, this is the code. Well, in this program, what we have done is we declared an integer of user input, where this variable will hold the input value that is entered by the user. So using scanf. And important part here is that if or while the user input is less than or equal to 0, That means if the input is a negative number, it says invalid input, please enter a positive number. Then it will again read the user input. And if the user input is a positive number, so more than zero, in this case, it will just print you have entered the positive number, whatever the number that they enter. So let's execute this and see what happens. GCC, then while user input. So it's compiled now. You can see that enter a positive number. The moment I enter 2, yes, so you enter 2. Now let's see what happens if I enter a negative number. I will say I will enter minus 2 here. And it says invalid input. Please enter a positive number. Even now I will execute minus 6. So this just keeps continuing until I enter a positive number like 1, whatever. So let me just try with 0. Here the 0 is also not positive number is what it says. Now I enter 1 and we terminate. It accepts the value 1, and the while loop terminates, or while loop stops executing. Then it comes out of the loop. Then it prints the you entered the value 1. So that is how the program is working. I hope this example is clear. So well, that's all about the while loop. So mastering while loop is a crucial step in becoming proficient in C programming. So it is simply, and its simplicity and versatility makes it powerful tool for various scenarios from counting down to input validation. So like for loop in the previous video, here also we can define an infinite loop using while. It is simply while and then 1. So if you do a while 1, then this block of code will get executed infinite number of times. So while 1 is considered a infinite loop, and to come out of the loop you can use break on a certain condition, then it breaks out of the loop. It is as similar as we discussed in the previous video. Okay, so now we will see the do while loop in C. The do while loop is particularly valuable when you want to ensure the code block is executed at least once, as the condition is checked after the block is executed. So the syntax of do while loop in C as follows. So it starts with the do, it's a keyword, then open the braces. You write the block of code that we want to execute, then close the brace. Then we have a keyword while, and then the if condition to be evaluated, and end with the semicolon. The ending with semicolon is very important. Sometimes you miss and you'll have a compilation errors. Okay, so now let's understand how it works. The do while loop starts and it will execute the body of the loop once. So this is the difference between while and do while loop. While loop, first it checks the test case, the test condition, and then executes the loop. But in do, first it will do the body of the loop, that means execute the loop body, and then it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will execute the body of the loop, and it continuously executes as long as the condition is true. If the condition is false, then the do while loop will end or terminate. This is how the do while loop is working. So to illustrate this, we have an example to calculate the factorial. So let's say the factorial is like 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5. Let's say if we have a 5 factorial to be find out, so we'll have to multiply 1 2 3 4 5 up to that number, and then that gives 120. So this is example of a factorial. So let's see how it works, because factorial of 1 factorial is always 1. So that is the reason you need a do while loop for this. Let's execute this and see what happens. So gcc do while factorial.c file, this is where the code is. Okay, let's just go through the code. Here we have declared int num and factorial 1. So we've initialized the factorial to 1. Then enter a positive integer. So we will enter a positive integer. Then do while loop for calculating the factorial. So here do factorial is equal to factorial into num. So this is the code to be executed. Then we decrement the value, update the condition. If the condition or the number is greater than 0, then it will iterate one more time until it will iterate as long as this while condition is true. Then we print the factorial. So let's see. Let's execute a.exe. Then it will ask for a positive integer. I'll enter 5. You can see that factorial of 5 is 120. Similarly, I will execute so an integer, let's say 0, factorial says 0. So, well, that's not a valid condition, but let's say if I put 1, so factorial is 1. Okay, so that's about a do while loop. Well, I hope the example is clear. So mastering the do while loop is also very important, because in some of the instances where at least want one time to execute the body of the loop, then we normally use while do while loop. In this video we have learned while loop, then do while loop. I hope this is clear. Thanks for watching.
Subscribe to the channel for more projects, courses, tutorials, and tools.